The top stories: TPLF Army General expresses confidence in smooth implementation of the peace agreement. And France is committed to supporting the reconstruction and rehabilitation efforts. Hello and thank you for joining us. You're watching Addis News Hour with the news. I'm Tabitha John. Stay with us. Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Meznagna met with his Nigerian counterpart Geoffrey Gideofor Onyema on the margins of the AU Extraordinary Summit being held in Niamey, Niger. DPM and Foreign Minister Meznagna briefed the Nigerian Foreign Minister about the current political developments in the country and the peace agreement inked in Pretoria between the government of Ethiopia and TPLF. The government of Ethiopia remains committed to the implementation of the peace pact, and Meznagna added practical actions have been put in place to provide humanitarian support and public services in all affected areas, apart from efforts underway for rebuilding and rehabilitation. Meznagna also commended Nigeria for its principled and unwavering positions and the former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, for his leadership to the success of the Pretoria Agreement, together with other members of the panel. The Nigerian Foreign Minister, on his part, expressed his satisfaction with the signing of the agreement and said Africa can solve its own problems with its own solutions. While disarmament of the TPLF's combatants is underway throughout Tigray, as per the agreement reached in Pretoria recently, a senior war general with the TPLF cautions that disarmament could not be done in one string. In a press conference, his first media appearance after returning to Tigray, commander of the TPLF combatants, Lieutenant General Taddese Warede, reiterated the TPLF's commitment for the smooth disarmament and gradual demobilization of combatants by way clearing the path for durable peace. Daniel Kasahun brings us up to speed.
Following the signing of the permanent cessation of hostilities, the Ethiopian government expressed commitment to its side of the responsibility. Accordingly, facilitating unfettered humanitarian aid and the restoration of basic services is well underway. As far as disarmament of the TPLF, a major part of the deal is concerned, commander of the TPLF combatants Taddese Warede indicated during the latest press conference that the agreed upon disarmament includes the withdrawal of TPLF forces from their positions and evacuations from major front lines.
I
have come to understand that whatever issues there could have been settled without the need to take up arms and plunge the country into all this chaos. Both sides have agreed that there is ample room for peaceful resolution of major questions simmering among Tigrayan forces. While picking up the pieces after one of the deadliest wars in world history, we have realized how far war could take us down the path of destruction. I have seen the Ethiopian army chief himself take a similar stance and sympathy for the Tigrayan question.
The military leaders in Tigray have resumed the tedious task of briefing combatants about the peace agreement and the resultant disarmament process. Creating a general consensus on disarmament is a major task for which its closest allies have committed themselves. With regard to the whole process indicated, both sides have shown keen interest and commitment for peace.
I believe despite the rosy picture that prevailed during the signing of the peace agreement, we need to apply a good degree of flexibility depending on existing situations. There is no major problem in the line. I remain confident in the willingness of both sides to solve the problems. We have started the whole thing real calm, and I believe this approach kind of helps us.
Turning his attention to the step-by-step approach to the thorny issue of disarmament, Army Chief Warede had this to say.
TPLF forces will withdraw from their positions on the war fronts within 2 or 3 days. What comes next is the evacuation of TPLF combatants from the front lines to where the army will be stationed. As long as our logistics capacity are lost, we can withdraw at once, or it may take a few days.
The war general never failed to mention that there still are forces within Tigray with the desired objective of tampering with the peace agreement, adding that the TPLF will do its level best to see to it that the agreement is implemented in the shortest possible time.
National Disaster Risk Management Commission announced that the government of Ethiopia is working to provide immediate support to Tigray region after the peace deal. National Disaster Risk Management Commissioner Mariam indicated that efforts are underway to repair damaged infrastructures and resume basic services. Koshu Melissau has the details.
The Ethiopian government and TPLF reached an agreement to facilitate unhindered humanitarian access in Tigray and neighboring regions to all in need of assistance, as well as to provide security guarantees for humanitarian aid workers. Talking to ATV, National Disaster Risk Management Commissioner Mariam said after the peace deal, the Ethiopian government is working to provide immediate support to Tigray region in collaboration with humanitarian aid partners.
After the peace deal, the Ethiopian government, in collaboration with various aid partners, and immediate aid is being delivered and transported into the Tigray region in 4 routes of land and air transport. Unfettered humanitarian access is being addressed to the needy.
Expressing the efforts made by the Ethiopian government to facilitate favorable conditions for international partners to deliver aid to the region, Shifarao said 13 aid partners have provided food and non-food items so far.
The Ethiopian government has transported close to 13,000 metric tons of grain to Tigray region, and international partners have transported 2,000 metric tons of grain and over 300,000 liters of fuel. This shows the favorable conditions created by the government for aid partners to provide aid, so any interested partners can provide aid. So far, over 13 international partners have participated in aid provision.
The commissioner also indicated that the government is working diligently to repair damaged infrastructures and resume basic services.
The government is working to restore basic facilities and resume services even better than the previous. The government has also given due attention to install other infrastructures by establishing steering committees to mobilize resources. Infrastructures include Amhara and Afar regions.
The commissioner called all Ethiopians and other partners to lend hand to reinstate the displaced people due to the war.
كفزكل تلبلش زمانيشن يمياكنا يا سبوت اللي سفرلش ولا تعش اللي ملسل يا مسدا وداولش هاجري هو يا بدرين هاجر سهون يمكفلش رمجاشن تكتي كفزكل تلبلش زمانيشن يمياكنا يا سبوت اللي سفرلش ولا تعش اللي ملسل يا مسدا وداولش هاجري هو يا بدرين هاجر سهون Hagare
Welcome back. The ambassador of South Sudan to Ethiopia claims that the Ethiopian people have triumphed with the signing of the peace accord between the Ethiopian government and the TPLF. James Peter Morgan, the ambassador of South Sudan, emphasized that the same spirit that motivated both parties to sign the peace accord should equally motivate them to carry it out. Shagao Yamato has the following report.
The ambassador of South Sudan to Ethiopia, James Peter Morgan, emphasizes that South Sudan, as a close neighbor, warmly welcomed the peace accord that the Ethiopian government and the TPLF inked in Pretoria, South Africa. Talking to ETV, the ambassador noted that the signing of the peace agreement between the two parties was the victory of the Ethiopian people.
First and foremost, there is nothing more important than peace. Peace is very, very, very important. And South Sudan as your neighbor, the neighbor to Ethiopia, and South Sudanese as brothers and sisters to the Ethiopian people, we wholeheartedly welcome this peace. The signing of the peace agreement is a victory of the Ethiopian people. And it is a peace that is won. It is not individuals. From now on, I want to say, let the people of Ethiopia stick together and continue to solve their own problems peacefully.
Morgan urged the two sides to materialize the agreement in accordance with his renewed commitment to facilitate its execution.
The same spirit that guided the two parties to sign the agreement, that spirit should also guide them to the implementation. All have to go together with the implementation process of the peace agreement, where the people who had been displaced from their homes, people who had been suffering because there was no food, no medicine. It is time for these people to celebrate this Christmas.
The envoy further urged the African Union to stand in for the peace accord on a global or continental scale to show that African problems require African solutions.
I am calling the African Union to take its place in the continent's stage and as well as in the world stage, that the African problems needs the African solutions. And that slogan has become to its fulfillment. It only will not end there. This is the beginning. This is the beginning of how Africans take responsibility of their own affairs. It made all of us to be proud, because this is what we want. The problem was solved by us. It was created by us, Africans, and it was solved by the Africans.
Mentioning that nothing is more important than peace, he tipped that the implementation of the peace agreement will play a crucial role in the overall activities in the region.
The Tigray Democratic Party, TDP, urged the two parties involved to work together to ensure that the peace agreement is implemented in accordance with the modality. Meznagna, the vice chairman of the TDP, said that some extremists, Ethiopian origin Tigray diaspora living abroad, are striving to continue the progress of their bad deeds in response to the peace agreement between the Ethiopian government and the TPLF. According to Meznagna, the TDP vice chairman, Ethiopians play their role to implement in ensuring that peace sovereignty in their country.
At least
the people of Tigray are now liberated from the TPLF shackles, enjoy independence, live in safety, and there are no war-related disturbances. Commodity prices have stayed tight, among other things. So the war brought about some significant issues in people's lives, and now there is some elevation. The awkwardness and sluggishness of the TPLF conflict, which harms innocent civilians, was widely covered by the media, as is well known.
In reaction to the peace agreement reached by the Ethiopian government, the vice chairman of the TDP further recommended some radicals in the foreign countries-based Ethiopian origin Tigray people to quit their bad deeds for the fact that Ethiopia still needs unity.
እነሱ ማሰብ ያለባቸው እዛ መከራ ውስጥ ያለው የትግራይ ህዝብ
The people of Tigray who are experiencing horrific attacks and serious challenges due to the war there deserve special recognition from the diaspora community. They ought to think about how to aid the populace in escaping TPLF's terrible deeds and how to enforce peace throughout Tigray and beyond. It is totally immaterial for the people Tigray or for anyone else, including the diaspora, for them to be acting only out of self-interest and to protest a peace accord. So I tell them to discontinue this action right away, and every individual who seeks peace or address the diaspora.
እዚህ ላይ የራሱን የሆነ ድርሻ የራሱን የሆነ ኃላፊነት ሊወጣ
The party promises to contribute to the implementation of the Pretoria, South Africa-led peace agreement in an exclusive interview with the Ethiopian news agency.
Right now, I am at the top of Ntoto Mountain.
This one, the first church in this church, in at a grass time at that time.
It is a historical site. You have seen a palace of Menelik in Ntoto.
I'm always fascinated by Ethiopia, by his history and the richness of his culture.
Most Ethiopians have ambition, a great ambition to know about their history.
Yeah, I've seen really impressive things about the history of Ethiopia.
I think it did. I had some expectations and they were definitely met. It's really amazing to see all the history around here.
A seasoned Ethiopian diaspora member says the diaspora community remains instrumental in scaling up digital diplomacy. Talking to ETV here today, Yared Lisanework stated that this endeavor helps to strengthen Ethiopia's multilateral diplomatic relations with countries around the world. Yared also urged the diaspora community to tighten its belt for a rock-solid unity by giving deaf ears to tiny divisive issues. In the following piece, Lisanework goes through his account and the issues at hand. Take a look.
My name is Yarel Lisanework. My last name is Lisanework. However, in Ethiopia, my name is Yared Lisanework, and I live in the United States of America, and I used to live in England too, but my citizenship is Ethiopian national. The Ethiopian government and the Prime Minister, during the parliament meetings, specifically mentioned about the public diplomacy. Of course, we need it that now more than any time. The main reason is why, because you know, the geopolitics is now totally changed. So there is a big paradigm shift because of, you know, our dam in the Blue Nile. You know, all the other countries came from there. Initially, we need a public diplomacy regarding that. In the other way around also, it's basically those people who doesn't, or countries who doesn't like Ethiopia, to prevail economically in the region, in the geopolitics. You know, they declare those with their own proxy war, with their own, you know, surrogates and agents. So we need to do a public diplomacy in different ways. This one is very important and very crucial for this time. The main reason why I said that is, one, there are a lot of Ethiopians as a diaspora, including myself. We live in different kinds of the world, always. So we need it very desperately because we are so many in different worlds, but we need to be one to stand to the best interest of Ethiopia. So the public diplomacy is very important and very crucial. This is time to raise this issue. I admire what the Prime Minister said in the Parliament, as well as all of the government establishments also stand, you know, to advocate these things, especially currently in social media and digital media. We need to work out. Majority of the social media owners are the Westerns. It's obvious that. So they go to their own interest, or whoever pays them more, they go that. So we need to use it that, you know, the Ethiopian government may not pay like that and may not have also the access the way the diaspora has in Western world, because we work you know, in different establishments, like in the universities, even in the digital centers, like the city, the one I live in, Seattle. Microsoft is 11 miles far away from the city. There are a lot of Ethiopians who works in Microsoft. So by using such kind of genius Ethiopians, bringing them together to the best interest of our motherland, it's better if we use it more. In comparing to the Western world, obvious, we are here in Africa, we don't have a lot of accesses. So the diaspora can play the major role in such kind of way to use it.
In an exclusive interview with ENA, France ambassador to Ethiopia, Remy Magasho, said that his country has been engaged in Franco-Ethiopian projects and strong cooperation with Ethiopia that essentially center on fraternity between the two countries. Welcoming the peace agreement signed by the government of Ethiopia and the TPLF, the ambassador added that France has been making strong political support across the EU and through the UN Security Council for Ethiopia. The implementation of the agreement would facilitate the conclusion of a new program that will allow relieving the public debt of the country and strengthening cooperation, Ambassador Magasho said. He further stated that France has been working in rehabilitation, provision of medical supplies, strengthening food security, and repairing of electric power and infrastructure. France is also ready to support the transformation and renovation of tourist sites in Ethiopia, Ambassador Magasho said, adding that cultural relationship has been the priority since the beginning of the diplomatic ties between the two countries 125 years ago.
Ethiopia is a country with ancient history and foreign relations that go way back.
Ethiopia's state policy has been constant towards Africa's freedom.
Has it been significant, and if so, in what ways?
The Ethiopians of the 19th century had strong differences, but they had been united.
What has been the centerpiece for those actors to engage with other African countries?
Now, if we directly connect Ethiopia's relation with the Middle East, it's almost the issue of the Nile.
What has it done for its diplomatic presence in the whole of Africa?
The Pan-African movement, its foundation is based off the Adwa victory.
Ethiopia has been a forerunner in joining organizations or opening them up. And one example of that is the OAU.
AU is under the terms that the Ethiopian leaders of the time have set.
business news, Ethiopia's electricity supply to Kenya on a trial basis will lay a critical foundation for regional economic integration, according to Ethiopian Electric Power, EEP. Ethiopia has started the supply of electricity to neighboring Kenya on trial basis, Ethiopian Electric Power said. EEP Electric Power Transmission Lines and Distribution Stations Construction Sector Executive Officer Kibron Kasai said Ethiopia has started electricity sale to Kenya based on the agreement that was signed. The countries agreed for Ethiopia to supply 200 megawatts of electric power for the next 3 years, and that amount will double to 400 megawatts after 3 years. The line has the capacity to transmit 2,000 megawatts of electricity with capability to generate over $1 billion per annum, it was stated. The project, possibly the first in East Africa, will be a significant foundation to economic ties with other African countries, including South Africa, Tanzania, beyond Kenya, the executive officer noted. Ethiopia's electric export trade has been contributing to enhance the nation's economic relations with neighboring countries, in addition to the foreign currency earnings. Campaign for the Nigerian 2023 presidential election has started. A campaign rally held on Wednesday in Ibadan, southwest Nigeria, and large crowds gathered to listen to one of the candidates of the presidential election, Peter Obi. Campaigning for the election ahead of the February 2023, Obi promised to bring about positive change. Shagao Yamato has the following account from Africa News.
Presidential hopeful and chosen Labour Party candidate Peter Obi held a campaign rally Wednesday in Ibadan, southwest Nigeria. Large crowds gathered in the Oyo State capital to attend the electoral meeting. Campaigning for the February 2023 vote, Obi promised to bring about positive change.
Let me assure you, the government within the farm will be beginning of building a new Nigeria. It will be beginning of building a Nigeria where Nigerians will be proud and say, we are Nigerians. Because we will secure and unite Nigeria.
There was a voter base of around 84 million for the 2019 election, and the Electoral Commission hopes to add at least 20 million new voters. According to sources in security, the economy, the fight against corruption will be key election factors.
Fight corruption. Corruption is killing the future of the youth of Nigeria. Because people are stealing money that will be used to develop Nigeria. I am Baba Ahmed Dati. Go and check out history. We are criminals.
18 other candidates are running for the top job, including Bola Tinubu of the All Progressive Congress Party and Rabu Wankos of the New Nigerian People's Party.